Welcome back to the show. We're here with Dave Damiani, producer, vocalist, band leader of the No Vacancy Orchestra. Dave, welcome to the ACMike Show.
Hey, how you doing, Mike? Thanks for having me, my man.
That's great, man. Listen, we've done this a little bit here and there, whether it be the radio, about 4 years ago, maybe 5, the big ugly C word.
That's right.
COVID. We did you from the West Coast, Los Angeles, and here we are live. I'm so glad to have you here.
Well, it's nice to be here in the actual studio here at Stockton University where, I mean, wow, we got great people here working the cameras and a great little thing here, man. This is incredible. I came to Stockton. I went for 1 semester and I couldn't afford it. I had to switch to Camden County College.
You know what? I kind of get that now because a little tough time getting here to the studio.
A little tough time getting to the studio. It wasn't because of my grades, though.
Right. It's about as sharp as a bowling ball.
Yeah, that's right.
So listen, no, all kidding aside, we've gotten to know each other through some of the shows you've done, Dante Hall, 500 Club, and we're going to get into that in a little bit, Dave. Listen, some of our viewers don't know maybe a lot about you. You've been in the area. Tell people a little bit the origin, you know, how it got started. You're a local guy.
Okay, a local guy, and I grew up in Cherry Hill, and then I went to school for a semester here at Stockton University. This is like a long time ago, and it was very expensive. I remember that. And I was paying for myself. It wasn't like today where like the parents
like kids.
Yeah, paying for myself. And then I realized after a semester I could get an education at community college a lot cheaper, which wasn't. It was pretty expensive then too at the time.
Right.
So I went
Everything's expensive.
I know
for
everything's
an 18-year-old.
expensive. I know for an 18-year-old.
Right.
And then I went to Temple University where I studied radio, television, and film. Very much in a program like we have here, set up like this. And I moved out to Los Angeles, where I spent 27 years living in Los Angeles, working. I wanted to be in the film and television, and I took a lot of jobs, writer's assistant, PA, production assistant, working on movies. I mean, doing anything I could do to make a buck. And then finally I said, I really don't want to do this anymore. And I got a job as a singing waiter at a restaurant, and I could barely sing. And I started a whole new chapter of my life, and I became a musical producer and artist. And it's all because of this one guy that was like playing piano at this restaurant where I was working. And he just said, hey, if you want to follow your dreams, follow your dreams. And I did. And I can't believe it. It's like, I have a career in music as a result of going back to school and studying. And I actually went back to school as an adult. I got a 2nd degree in music.
That's amazing. And listen, the persistence to find something to be passionate about it and enjoying what you do. And you say 27 years you've been doing something. Listen, I spent 25 years working in the prison system, and I got to tell you, I enjoyed doing what I did, but I got through it. But that's the key to life. I really believe that. And we'll get into that in a little bit. Listen, as the leader of the No Vacancy Orchestra, I've seen you many times when we got to meet 2014 or 15. And, the way you arrange, work with the other guys, the performers, maestro. I say the maestro. Don't it's not to pat you on the back and make your head bigger. None. You handle that, and I think that takes a special breed besides just an entertainer. Not to take anything away from that. Talk about that passion and how that's come, and how you arrange.
Well, every job I've ever had in any business I've always wound up being some sort of manager or right-hand man to the owner, and I've always been somebody who was capable of running the show, right, whether the owner was there or not, and I took it real serious. And I took that into music, and I think I learned things like how to play some piano and how to arrange kind of basic stuff and do some stuff, and I came up with some concepts for ways to do songs differently. We call it bending the standard. That's what my thing is, bending the standard, taking a tune and putting my spin on it. And then I found guys like Dave Richards, an incredible arranger, Glenn Morissette, Tim McKay, Clint Blyle, and these guys write arrangements for me based on some concepts, and that has gotten me so much work across the country, performing with people like Sal the Voice Valentinetti from America's Got Talent. We've done a show with George Benson in Los Angeles for the Sinatra 100. I've worked with, we did a show with Steve Tyrell, Bobby Caldwell, Renee Olstead, Haley Reinhart, Landau Murphy Jr., winner of America's Got Talent. I'll be this year doing a couple shows with Benny Benack, the #1 jazz entertainer in the country, who's going to be in Summers Point on April 19th. It's unrelated, but these are my friends, and I've built a network of people and produced a bunch of music that's available on every single platform you can imagine. And I've actually made a living doing this, and I'm blessed.
It's crazy. Pinch yourself sometimes. I'm being serious.
No, I'm serious. It doesn't really make sense.
Because it's a unique way to make a living. There's not many people who've done it and do it the way you do it, because what you've created for yourself. I go, when you talk like this, I go to some of my friends that are boxers, and here I'm going to put it together. So not only are they boxers, but they figure they're not going to box forever, but they've also become promoters. You know, Lamana, Garcia, and some of the others. So what you've done, you perform, but you're also putting this together. And then some of the folks, and that's what I wanted to bring you. You know, you named Sal and Joe and some of the others. And listen, I want to thank you for being able to be an MC at a couple of these shows, traveling with you guys in Washington or Virginia, working with those folks. And when they come in from all over the country, or maybe even the world. Renee, when you're talking about Haley, to work with that, because not a lot of entertainers. I don't know this. You know this better than I. When you have your own show, you're sharing the stage with these people, and there's a lot of ego. You know, it doesn't mean it's bad or good, it's confidence, but you're willing to share that. That's unique in itself as well.
I've been told from other musicians, they've said, you know, you're like the Johnny Carson of jazz, and I said I really appreciate that, because I really want to put on the best show. Like even when I played baseball, I didn't mind being the number 2 hitter, which we'll get into baseball too, because there's no more bunting anymore. There's no more moving the runner from first to second. Right. There's no more small ball. But I play music small ball. I'm not one of these guys that's going to go out there and sing and like Bocelli and make you cry. And I mean, I sing in tune. Right. I swing. I got a good way of acting out of tune, right. But I wasn't blessed with a voice like Luther Vandross. Right. But I have my own style, and I've used that to my benefit, and I use my strengths, and where my weaknesses are, I bring people in, and I'm not afraid to bring in a Landau Murphy Jr. or Haley Reinhart or someone, Renee Olstead, or somebody who's a mega superstar that, you know, can just sing and make you cry, you know?
Right. No, absolutely. So, and that's the beauty of it, and it gives the audience. So that's where I want to go with that. I ask everyone this, whether it's a chef, a ball player, a musician, an artist. When you're working, doing your thing, you interact with the audience very well. What is it like to feel that, you know, whether it's 100 people, 10,000, 5,000, just to see people swinging, having a good time, clipping their fingers, whatever it is. What does that do for you as a performer?
Well, when you're firing on all cylinders and that you start to notice that you have the crowd engaged, right. There's a high that you get. I don't know if you compared it to surfing, if you've ever gotten the feeling when you stand up on the surfboard and you're actually riding the wave. That's how it feels. It's like when you hit a home run.
Jacking one, or
you hit a home run, or like when you hit a golf ball and you smack it right in the middle and you don't even feel the ball go. That's how it feels. But the cool thing about what I do is I use a real orchestra, and there's no tracks. Right. There's no backing tracks. I mean, a lot of these performances today, especially in some of the casinos, there's a couple of people, because the cost is high, that'll do a show and it's like 1 or 2 people singing with tracks, or one guy singing with I want to say like a karaoke machine, but it's basically, I won't do that. I'm always hiring musicians. I'm always hiring young musicians. It's always live music, and it's a oneness of all of us performing together, like an improv troupe or something, like live theater. So that's how I really admire that about if there's anything I admire, about myself, it's that I keep all these musicians working.
And that's the beauty of it, because when you bring those young men and women in from Temple or wherever it may be, and you do the same on the West Coast, and I'm sure when you're in Vegas as well, when these university students or graduates, they come in, that's a beautiful thing to see, because it's a very eclectic and different group. Ethnicity, you know, smooth young guys bending the standards with the skinny ties, doing their thing.
And there's a pedagogy to this music. Like, right. You know, that's a word.
Big word.
Well, it's a word that's not used enough, because it doesn't really exist anymore. Pedagogy, where the father passes it down to the son, or the uncle passes it down, the way to act, the way to show up, the way to dress, the way to act appropriately on a gig, the way to be. And that's how I was taught by some guys that were in their 70s and 80s. And now I'm 50. I'm becoming one. I know. Don't tell any. Can we cut that out? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But I still have a good time. And I still have a good time with it. And now these younger guys are coming up to me, and they're asking me for advice, and it's like, wow. That really makes me say, wow, people are asking me now when I was asking those same questions 20 years ago.
So it's a two-parter. Tell us one of your most memorable performances with an artist, and then someone that you said, and maybe not in all or whatnot, it's like, what the hell am I doing up here with this guy or gal? That sort of, and you've touched on some of the names.
I think the thing that we did in October of 2015 in Los Angeles, I got the opportunity to lead the band for the Sinatra 100 at the Grove, and we had Jane Monheit, Landau Murphy Jr., Renee Olstead, Johnny Mandel, who I got to go to his house and hold his Oscar for The Shadow of Your Smile from the Sandpiper, and his Grammy for Song of the Year. And George Benson, I found out from a friend of a friend, Benny Marsala, who was friends with this guy Charles Wallert, who was a producer, got me in touch with George Benson, and I called him up on the phone, and I literally had a conversation with him. We talked about the song, and there's a picture. Here it is right here. I'll show you. This is it right here, but this is October 15th, 2015. It's me, George Benson, the No Vacancy Orchestra. We're doing a sound check. I handed George's guitar, and then he looks over to the guys, and we didn't even practice the song, and he starts going, doon, 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 and he starts playing on Broadway. And there was like 10 or 15 people in this, because it was an outdoor arena, they were kind of paying attention. It was at a shopping mall, and it was roped off, but there was like 10 or 15 people that were kind of peeking in. And he plays the whole on Broadway, and he's like, say the neon lights on. And by the time we're about 90 seconds in, must be 2,000 people going, that's George Benson here. And I'm standing there next to him like this going, what am I doing here?
Right. That's that.
So that's my what am I doing here moment.
Love it.
And then I think that it was a night where I got to host the Friars Club. Here's another picture. This is me, Landau Murphy Jr., Joe Piscopo, and Tracy Morgan. Tracy Morgan received the Icon Award. This is in 2023.
Yeah. I missed that one.
Oh, you missed that one. Normally you're at these things.
Right.
But I was the musical director for the Friars Club till they closed, and for the last couple years in New York City, the historic Friars Club, Jerry Lewis, I mean, you name it, Billy Crystal, everybody has been there. I mean, it just was a haven for Sinatra had his 50th birthday in this room. And Tracy Morgan was given the Icon Award, and at the end, me, Piscopo, Landau, Sal the Voice, and Tracy Morgan were singing New York, New York for all these people. I mean, J.B. Smoove was in the audience, and Chris Kattan from Saturday Night Live, and Rudy Giuliani, the current mayor, and Blasio were all in the same room.
It's a great room.
Paul Schaefer from Saturday Night Live. I was like, wow. That was like, so what am I doing here? And here I am, I was, and then CeeLo Green sang with the band. CeeLo closed out the show, and it was like my band, my arrangements that he used, and it was like, here's CeeLo Green singing,
Strong.
I mean, it was out of this world, man.
That's amazing. Listen, hold that right there. Pump the brakes. Hold off. Hey, folks, stay tuned. Stay right where you're at. We'll be right back with Mr. Dave Damiani of the No Vacancy Orchestra.